Casework and equipment online content. We've talked about loading in the families that come with Revit, and there are a number of them, but really it's just getting you started. We also talked in the installation video where you're supposed to click in order to get the full installation of content onto your computer. But there are other places where you can get content, and a lot of this is found online. So let's take a look at some of this online content. And it's not limited to casework. This could be anything, as you'll soon see. So some are free, some you pay for. I'm going to just concentrate on the free ones for now. This is Autodesk Seek, and this is something that Autodesk is doing in order to really expand the amount of content that is available to Revit users and to Autodesk users in general. So you can do a search right here and you could find, well, let's type in casework. Now what's going to happen is it's going to give you options of all the casework. Everything which has the word casework in its title, it's all going to be there, and you're able to pick it and download it. You'll notice on the right-hand side, there's an RFA. That's the file format for Revit family types. And you just download it and put it in a folder that makes sense to you, and then use it. You also have other things like a DXF file. You have a PDF file, including the specs. So these are quite well developed, and we found there to be a lot of variety when it comes to this content. And boy, can it sure ever save you time. Instead of trying to make something like this, just download it and away you go. You can also do some nice filtering through this. So I could go with something like, let's go by manufacturer content. There's 127 pieces. And remember, each one of these pieces is parametric, so they'll have varying widths that you can use. You can also go down the list here and say, I'm looking for something which is of a specific depth. The next site that I wanted to show you is the Revit Content Distribution Center. This is the URL right up here. This is the old Autodesk Seek. This is sort of the old one that you would go to download all of your library, all of your content that you wanted. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is just because there are a few things in here that are not necessarily in Autodesk Seek. For instance, there are archived libraries, so there's older families if you want them. They also have some other things like Revit instruction and help samples, and this is very useful. I find under metric or imperial, you'll have railing samples, stair samples, repeating details, and these can be very good in helping you as you work. The next site is called SmartBIM, and this is a great company. They really focus on making high quality content, and this is free. Most of the stuff that you can download from them is free. They also make a content manager that you can download, and it's fairly inexpensive. You could contact them for information on that. So you can click on either download objects or spaces. Let me just show you their spaces. So their spaces are just a matter of picking the type of space you want to download, and then you can pick out maybe the computer lab of a school, and then a layout, and then you can download, and all of these manufacturers, all their content from their lights to the projectors to the chairs to the screen to the water cooler in the corner. This is a really good site for downloading content. And then finally, we're going to look at Revit City. This is a user-driven content distribution site. It also has a lot of images in the gallery from people who are working with Revit and just experimenting with different things. Maybe they're trying out a rendering and saying, hey, how can I improve this? If you go to the downloads, you could click on keywords, and I could say, well, I want to look for, well, look at this. There's a ship's ladder right there, fully parametric. So this is interesting, all of this stuff. But maybe I'm looking for something specific like a car. Actually, I want a police car. Okay, now you may laugh, and I would laugh too. I would never use that one. That one's a little bit too simplistic. But then again, take a look at this one here. Let's click on that one. You got to beware a little bit. This is a beautifully rendered police car, and this is actually rendered in Revit, but the problem with this is it may have too many surfaces, and it would be good for a rendering or for a presentation, but if you were doing a police station, let's say, and you had 100 of these things, then your model would get extremely slow. You do have to watch it a little bit. Plus, this is a public site, so sometimes little malicious things can sneak in. So you want to just scan everything you download and before you open it. So there are other sites out there and lots of other content for you to be able to download and install. So that should never really be a problem finding the object that you're looking for to make. Of course, it is important to learn how to make families and content yourself, but that's something that we'd have to spend time in another video in another course.